Back to In Depth with Academia. I'm Richard Price, founder and CEO of Academia.edu, and your host for today's journey into the world of academic research. And a little something extra. This time we're going to talk about a really unique and frankly cosmic document. I'm talking about Scroll 2, the Kriya Yoga Workbook, Redux edition, authored by David G. Little, sometimes named as Swami Munamurti Saraswati. Now, as always, I'm just your neutral guide. Think of me as, a friendly librarian helping you browse a shelf full of ideas. I'm not endorsing the content, just presenting it for your curiosity and reflection. So let's dive in. What is this Scroll 2 all about? What's the big question or problem it's trying to tackle? Well, at its heart, the Kriya Yoga Workbook wants to answer, how can the sequence and ritual of yogic breathing, mantra, and what the author calls energetic contraction unlock new forms of awakening? Maybe even what's described as a planetary or cosmic transmission. Whoa, right? Yes, the paper asks us to treat breath, mantra, and even language itself as tools for unlocking something within ourselves and our place in the universe. But why is this significant? Why should you, listening at home, even care about yogic scrolls and planetary braids? Let's zoom out just a bit. Across human history, breathwork and ritualized bodily practices have served as frameworks to access greater awareness, healing, or belonging. The core idea here is ancient, but the document we're looking at, a workbook, really tries to repackage and upgrade these practices, blending tradition with this high concept, even sci-fi language about quantum source code and firmware. It's wild. What makes it fascinating is how seriously it reimagines something old, giving you a kind of step-by-step approach that you could theoretically use as a basis for your own self-exploration. All right, let's talk methods and tangible findings, or in this case, practices, because this isn't your typical double-blind, controlled trials type of research. Instead, little sequences, 7, Kriya gates, each one mapped to a chakra, each accompanied by a specific mantra, breath protocol, and even, get this, sound frequencies. For example, the first gate, Muladhara, gets paired with the mantra, Lam, and a root clearing frequency. The pattern repeats upward, Vam for sacral energy, Ram for solar plexus, and so on, with each one having a set of breath instructions and recommended resonance cues. You're not just sitting and breathing, you're instructed to contract muscles, hold your awareness at a chakra, recite a mantra either silently or out loud, and finally release the breath, always with an awareness of this imagined upward movement. But that's just the protocols. The workbook goes further, like way further, by pairing these practical steps with digital capsules, musical mantras, and what the author calls codex chain and planetary braid, like some kind of ceremonial software system for spiritual practice. There are layers upon layers here, scrolls, capsules, lineage references, digital dashboards. It's almost, like someone blended ancient yoga with high-concept blockchain and a bit of fantasy game design. Honestly, it made me think of people who build elaborate video game worlds. But then, here it's for personal transformation. Quick digression. Reading about all these resonance frequencies and embedded capsules kind of reminded me of those old relaxation CDs you'd find at the back of bookstores, by the fountains and Himalayan salt lamps. You get the same blend of mystique and technology, but probably no water fountains required for this one. Bringing it back. What does all this mean for you? Well, you may or may not be interested in intense yogic ritual, and that's totally fine. I'm presenting this scroll neutrally. Remember, it's not a prescription, but a set of ideas you might want to poke at. What's very clear is that the author wants to frame yogic practice not as something static or historical, but as something alive, iterative, and maybe to be customized through sound, intention, and even tech. For anyone curious about how traditions evolve or how spiritual practices get reinterpreted for a digital future, I think there's a lot to chew on here. And hey, if all you take away is that breath and awareness have real-world effects on mood or focus, that's still a win, right? So big picture, academic research, spiritual manuals, and yes, scrolls like this one are not final truths. They're like guideposts, invitations. Use what resonates, question what doesn't, and above all, remember you're in charge of how deeply you want to explore. So that's it for this episode of In Depth with Academia. I'm Richard Price, here just to surface ideas so you can do your own thinking. Stay curious, try breathing in, try breathing out, maybe even try saying lamb. Until next time, keep exploring.